Okay, so now that you know all the basics, now let's try and add everything that you learned and make a trading strategy. So first, I want to find what your trend is. You already know what your trend is. You know what your supply and demand is, support and resistance, and your structure. That would be highs, that would be lows. You know about moving averages. You know about trend lines, and you know about candle patterns. So now let's mix all of that together. Start making a strategy. So first, what I usually like finding would be the trend. So there's the three ways trying to tell the trend. That would be trend line, moving average, and structure. I don't know if I spelled that right. Number two would be the type of trader you are. Type of trader. So that'd either be the breakout, so that'd be the break of structure, or break of a trend line, or the break of a moving average. Or you can get a retest and rejection. So that would be pullbacks. And number three, telling or having an entry from candle patterns. So your risk management. Me personally, I stick with 1% for every trade and go for a 1 to a 2. Break even rule after a 1 to 1. So this is the three basic stuff that I usually go by. Trend. So for me, I wait for a retest, or you can either wait for a breakout, and then you're going to have your candle patterns as a confirmation for your entry. And then your risk, 1% for every trade, and go for a 1 or 2 after a candle reaches a certain point. So that will be the 1 to 1. That's where you bring your stop loss to your entry, and that's what a break even is. So now we're going to get into we're going to have three different parts for this video. We're going to have our trend line part, mixing in the breakout and retest. The moving average part, mixing in the breakout and the retest. And then the structure, the breakout and retest. So I'll leave the certain timestamps within the description. So if you want to try checking out all three of them, you can start from this part of the video. But if you want to go to a certain part, you can go in the description and click that timestamp. Okay, so now for the trend line retest part of the video. So marking our trend line, we want to see what price is doing at the moment. So first, we see that the market is making higher lows consistently. So using a trend line, we're going to use this line and just connect every single low. So it's making 1, 2, 3 retests, showing that this is a strong uptrend. So now, using our text tool, trend, it's in an uptrend. So number 2, pull back and retest of the trend line. So this is where we wait for a retest. Okay, so we see that it retested the trend line. So this is where we can drop down to our 3-minute and wait for candle confirmation. Okay, so we see a bullish engulfing candle. We can enter off of that candle and then just have our stops right below the low. Go for a 1 to 2. Then break even right after a candle closure of the 0.5. Okay, and see how that looks like. And you see that this is a winning trade. Okay, so now for the trendline breakout part of the video. Since breakouts for trend lines tend to be reversals, we want to mark up trend line. Look for sells. Since it's going to be a break of a trend line and a trend reversal. So number 2, wait for breakouts on 3 min, since we want to have the tightest entry, and then candle confirmation. Okay, so this is where we can drop down to the 3 minute and see how it looks. Let's just drag this text, drag the text right down here, right on this side, and then see how price is going to look. Okay, so this is a strong momentum towards the downside, so we can enter off of this bullish engulfing candle. Stops just right above the high. Go for a 1 and 2 using the Fibonacci. We're going to break even after this 0.5 candle closure. And we can just see how the market looks like. And you see, candle confirmation, bearish engulfing candle. I misspelled that, but I do not care. But yeah, this is how you catch breakouts of a trend line. Okay, so now it is the structure retest part of the video. So first we're gonna see how structure looks like. So we see that it's making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So this is pretty much what we're gonna be looking for. Since it's broken this previous low, we're going to wait for a retest of this area right down here. Then we're going to have our candle confirmations. Okay, so we can drop down. Not drop down yet. Okay, so we see that the market is starting to pull back. So we're going to wait for candle confirmations. Okay, so I see a bearish engulfing candle. So we're going to enter straight off of that. Stops just right above the highs. Go straight for a 1, 2, 2. Grab our Fibonacci tool. Wait for candle closure of this 0.5 area. Bring our stops to break even after that. Okay, so let's see how this is starting to look like. Okay, so I see that the candle closed right below the 0.5 area, so we can bring our stop loss straight to our entry, making our trade break even. You see, we won that trade right there. So the two things about structure retest. You can either take it from the low or you can take it from the high. This would be the resistance area, and then this would be our supply zone. Okay, so now getting into the structure breakout part of the video. So the thing about structure breakout, you set rules for yourself, not really following a trend, but have certain rules for, a break of a high or either a break of a low. Since this is our most recent high, we can enter straight off with a break of this high right over here, or enter sells off with this low right there. So let's see which area that it reacts to first. Okay, so we see that there's a lot of momentum going towards the upside, showing that we can enter buys. So now, since there's this big bullish engulfing candle, we want to have our stops right below that engulfing candle and make it a 1 or 2. that's good enough. But bring your Fibonacci. Once the candle closes right above that 0.5 area, we can bring our stop loss to our entry price, making that okay. So we see that it had broken. This candle closed right above the 0.5 area, so we can bring this our stop loss to break even. So now let's see how this trade looks. So we see that we would have won this trade off of this break of this high right there. So this is how you catch the breakouts. It's either breakouts of the highs or lows. Just make rules for yourself. Then you can enter off of any engulfing candle or any momentum candle that breaks either resistance or support. Okay, so now getting to the moving average breakout part of the video. So, unlike the retest part of the video, breakouts, like I said, it tends to be going against the grain and look for reversal trades. So, for breakouts, I tend to have two rules. Those two rules would be a break of a structure, so that could be a high or low, and then candle closure right above the 50 EMA. So that's going against the trend. So doing quick analysis, I see that there's this previous high right over here. Would want price to break that high and then have that candle close right above the 50-day moving average to count it as an actual, breakout. Okay, so let's see how this works out. So I see a bullish engulfing candle. It broke structure and closed right above the 50 EMA, so we can enter straight off of that. And then we can have our stops just right below the previous candle, and then have it at a 1 or 2. And then bring our Fibonacci, and then any candle that closes above the 0.5 area, that's when we would bring our stop loss to entry price, making that trade a break even. Now let's see how it looks like. It's retesting. The candle closed right above it, so we can bring our stop loss to entry, making that a break even trade if it does go down there. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, so I'll just break that. I'll just go to a higher time frame. So you see, we would have won that trade. So that's an example of a breakout.